Ray Kelly's new book, Vigilance, is a memoir of his life and career. It also takes on current and controversial topics of national security and urban policy. And we welcome Ray Kelly for joining us this morning. Ray, thank you so much for coming in.
Being with you.
There's backlash against proactive policing or aggressive policing, however you want to call it. Is there any part of it that's justified?
Justified in terms of police backing off?
No, the backlash among
communities, among activists.
Cities and communities. You've seen the marches, you've heard the protests, obviously.
We've seen some high-profile events that were truly terrible, particularly the murder, that's all you can call it, in North Charleston, South Carolina. Walter Scott was shot in the back, and then it appears that evidence was planted. In a lot of people's minds, quite frankly, this is suspicions confirmed. It's about the police do all the time, obviously. I don't think that's the case. Are there bad cops? Sure, bad everything out there. And I think the aberrations are small, but it's a problem. It's something that has to be addressed, has to be overcome. And I think in the short term, what we're seeing is a backing off on the part of the police from proactive initiatives.
What does that mean, Commissioner? Because it's not a question that New York City is confronting alone, or Baltimore is confronting alone, or Ferguson, for example, and St. Louis are confronting alone. This is a question that confronts every police force in the country, and it has implications for law enforcement. From your perspective, what does it mean?
It means, at least in the short term, that I think we'll see an increase in violent crime. We've seen an increase, the New York Times wrote about it last week, of murders in 30 cities throughout the country. Now, that's just not a coincidence. It's a result, in my judgment, of police holding back, if you will.
What do you say, then, to people who, community activists and community members who complain that stop and frisk, for example, involves racial profiling, that broken windows is a philosophy for which there is no statistical evidence and proof?
Well, I personally think these things are effective. We've had a significant reduction in crime for the last 2 decades throughout America.
Not coincidentally.
And yeah, I think it has to do with smarter policing, proactive policing. And when you see this falling back in activity, you're going to see, in my judgment, increased violence until it sort of levels off. But that's what's happening, certainly, in my view, throughout America.
I want to get to ISIS because Eric brought that up earlier. ISIS has had a lot of success in Europe, notably the UK and France. Can the group replicate that model here in the U.S.? Could a girl from Brooklyn be more resistant or more vulnerable the way that a girl from Leeds in the UK is?
Well, you have to, I think, understand that so much of the radicalization process now takes place on the Internet. So it can happen virtually anywhere. No question about it. We've had cases right here in New York where individual is basically totally radicalized and starts building bombs to blow up returning U.S. servicemen strictly on messages getting to the Internet. So it can happen anywhere. It's
not quite the same phenomenon that it is in Europe, however. Why is that?
We like to think here, law enforcement like to think that we are doing an effective job, but it's been said so many times, the terrorists only have to be right once, the government has to be right every time. And that is a pretty heavy lift. So I think the threat is going to continue for a long time to come. As has been said, fighting grievances in their minds that have existed for 1,400 years.
How much of a threat does ISIS pose to the United States domestically, and why?
Well, when you say ISIS, it's a movement. It's just not bodies, although there's a significant number of bodies under the ISIS umbrella, perhaps as many as 40,000, 50,000 I've heard. That's a significant number. But it is a movement. They're very effective on the Internet. They're putting out 90,000 tweets or retweets a day. So is it a threat here? Yes, I think the movement is a threat here, and we've seen a lot of disaffected young people choose to kill people in their own countries, and I think the FBI has been doing a pretty effective job in rolling them up.
Mr. Commissioner, thank you very much.
Eric,
good luck with your new book.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Vigilance by Ray Kelly. He's the former commissioner of the New York City Police Department. We thank him for being here.